know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it back there. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it turnpike miles. Yeah, it's Buku signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things, don't even have a deal, yeah, I battle through these.
Welcome everyone to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy J. Ludis, and today we have a very, very special guest with us. I've been telling you guys for the last few weeks that we're going to have some new guests on the show with incredible messages to share, and today is exactly that. Niki Bell joins us today from California, and with her, she brings her expertise in business strategy as well as an expert in investing. However, in getting to talk to Niki already, there's so much more that she brings to the table that we want to bring to you guys. And with that, Niki brings with her a journey. And that's what we wanted to bring to you guys today, helping you understand that your own journey and the decisions made along the path that brings you to where you are now, but also helps you get in alignment on that journey to bring you an outcome that you might be looking for, or a potentially new outcome that could be even better. So all that being said, guys, please welcome Niki here. Niki, welcome, and I thank you for being here.
Woo! Thank you so much, Billy. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate you.
No problem at all. I'm glad that we were able to connect and really make this work. You know, if usually I'm in person interviews, this is one of the first, I don't want to say the first one, but one of the first Zoom ones. So be able to connect with you over from California, oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what you bring from all these experiences that you've had on the other side of the entire country. That's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yes, it is. It's been, a phenomenal journey so far. And I'm a native of California, and I spent some time in Michigan. Michigan State University was one of my schools that I went to, did my undergrad there. But, California is home, and it is different from the Midwest. And I think I bring some of that Midwest like attitude here in California, which is very settled. We're not in a rush. We're not like aggressive people. It's not just about you. There's so much more. And there is such a world perspective that I received from Michigan, all the international students and everybody that came, to further like their education. We had a good medical, hospitals and things of that sort, just people from all over the world. And it was really, really interesting. It's actually kind of a culture shock when I went there. I came from a country town in California, and then I went to Michigan, and Michigan's very big on agriculture, but it was just different. The folks were different. Had a lot of people from Detroit, Flint. The sports were always popping. I was everywhere. I was in every organization. I did everything. And actually, growing up to now, people say that I haven't changed.
Gotcha.
So, there you go.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing.
Right.
Right. And, you said, you were doing everything, and in getting to already talk to you, the coolest thing that I've already seen in just, there's been articles written about you, which are phenomenal. The list of accolades that you've accomplished throughout your life just goes on and on. And are there any specific accolades that stick out to you that you want the audience to be able to hear?
Yes. I mean, I think all of it, right? Growing up, I pretty much raised myself. Yes, I was part of a household, but there was a lot of negativity that went on. There was a lot of do or die. There was a lot of violence. And so I had to be that kid that believed in herself and believed no matter what, I was going to grow up to be somebody and make something of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I was beyond poverty stricken, but yet in elementary school, I was running for student government.
Nice.
And even though I lost, it didn't matter. It was like, okay, this is the step. Now I'm going to take this next step.
Yeah.
Right. And then being diagnosed with a devastating disease when I was 11 and having a week left to live, which people still remember to this day.
Wow.
Here in California, it was like, whoa, okay, now I get this second chance to be all that I can be. So I went and I ran, sports, track, cross country, basketball, everything. I did everything. And then the next step was, okay, now I'm going to take on this other activity where I can really strengthen my voice
Okay.
And so I joined that and I competitively spoke all over the state of California.
That's
You
awesome.
know, I volunteered with the police. But at the same time, I was faced with, by the time I was a senior in high school, I was faced with a brother who was facing death row.
Okay.
And
Wow.
that still didn't stop me. So I'm in the cop car in my outfit, volunteering with the local police.
Yeah.
And I hear his name on the intercom every once in a while, And when you hear that, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But I knew that I was in the right place because I had everything that I could possibly do, including working two jobs,
Mm.
that I could possibly do to get the hell up out
Yeah.
and make something of my life.
Yeah.
So, when I applied to Michigan State University coming from a small town and I got in, I was just like, wow, my dreams are coming true.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I did that. I
Yeah.
didn't have any kind of religious background or anything like that at that point. I did that myself,
Yeah.
and it was powerful. It
Yeah.
was so powerful. And I organized everything. I called them every day. And this is for the youth. No matter
Mm.
what it is that you want to do, no matter what excuses we say to you now, like, oh, you guys just want it easy. You just want to press that button. Don't listen to anybody else. It's about that drive and it's about
Yeah.
that motivation. You either
Yeah.
have it or you don't, but you have the ability to build it.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to build what you need to do, if you're willing to pull yourself out of bed because you're depressed or you have anxiety or suicidal thoughts,
Uh-huh.
whatever little bit of effort that you do,
Yep.
you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be better off for it,
Yeah.
for yourself, because you have nothing to prove.
Exactly.
Right. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to help that next person and the next person after you.
Yeah.
So that inner journey, when we want to talk about the journey, it began as a small child,
Yeah.
seeing all of this negativity around me and being like, something's wrong. And I can't really put my hand on it,
Yep.
but something is not right. Why is this happening to me? And
Yeah.
how can I make it stop happening to me? How can I grow up and not be a victim? Not be a victim of circumstance,
Mm.
not be a victim of, family, not be a victim, period.
Yeah.
How can I grow up and make something of my life? And
Yeah.
that's what drove me every single day of my life.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, that's phenomenal right there. And you bring up so many key points, being able to understand that we aren't the victim, but we have to take hold of that to be able to move forward. And something that
Mhm.
stuck out the most of everything you just said was you learned how to fail at such a young age. Like you said, you ran for student government and you didn't win, but it taught you failure for one, which as much as
Yeah.
people hate failure, that's one of the biggest steps we need to learn in life, because if we can get up from that, because failure brings forth with it the depression, it brings forth with the anxiety, everything you just went on, where if you can find that last ounce of effort in you to take that step to roll out of bed in the morning and get up and keep walking, that is overcoming failure, and that is overcoming all those negativity aspects. And when you can take that step just as you did, that's when life really starts to unfold, because I think you get to a battle in life where if you're not quitting, life itself goes, oh, this person's real right now, we're going to move out of the way. And that's where you can start to take your steps. And I'm sure as your life went on, like you just kind of gave us a real brief overview of you as a young girl all the way to college. But in between, I've been so many moments where that negativity probably has tried to poke its head back in. And yet you're a person, just in getting to know you the last couple of weeks, you truly have overcome all of that in the inner journey, created the career journey, and at the same time, you're continuing to grow every single day because you never quit, just as you just went over.
Yes. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. And thank you for that. Um, for me, it's not about blame.
Mhm.
It is about taking responsibility and being accountable
Yeah.
for myself,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not about, oh, I had this friend that was negative to me, or I had this boss that fired me.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about you yourself and reflecting on what got you there,
Yeah.
right? What
Mhm.
put you in that position,
Yeah.
and then being able to pivot and change that.
Exactly.
And I think that it takes a certain skill level,
Yeah.
when we talk about communication,
Mhm.
that is so powerful. And me growing up in so many different kinds of cultures,
Yeah.
and then going off to another state where there was different cultures again,
Yeah.
it was amazing. And
Mhm.
it taught me how to have the language, to how to have the respect,
Yeah.
for other cultures because I talk to people around the world.
Yeah.
Around the world.
Yeah.
More so than I do people in my own community.
I believe it.
You know.
Yeah.
And I do what I do on a national level. But
Yeah.
I've always been a leader. Always. Like
Yeah.
no questions asked. And that is a fearful term for a lot of people.
Mhm.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
Somehow I was able to be the leader,
Mhm.
right? And anything that I did, any activities that I did growing up, and then I did that in college, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a big deal for me.
Yeah.
But I also recognize when it is for somebody else. I don't expect somebody to be where I'm at, but I don't look at them any less than,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So I have a very down to earth attitude. So it's like, I might be, how do you say, I hate this word, but assertive, people say. I
Yeah.
don't believe in that. I just know my stuff. But anyways, to
Yeah.
somebody else, I may be assertive, right? And they may be very shy or reserved.
Yeah.
And for me, I listen to understand. I
Yeah.
don't listen to react.
Yeah.
So I might be that one that stands up,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's okay. But throughout my life, that's also been held against me, having a strong character. It's
Gotcha.
been held against me, and
Mhm.
it's left me very alienated and very much alone.
Okay.
And so when people come to me and they're like, oh, well, I know that you know all these people and this and that. But it's like, yeah, I might know all these people, but I'm not necessarily close to them.
Yeah.
Because when you get close to people, they want to say things and they think that you're influenced by what they say.
Mm.
They think that you should listen to everything that they say and that you should agree with it. And it's like, no, I have my own mind.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my journey.
Yeah.
I have my own mind. If you can't respect that I have my own mind, then I can't deal with you.
Yeah. I get that.
No.
I get that.
And I think that that's what it's about. And it's like, for me, everything is common sense. When I deal with my career right now, it's common sense. But
Yeah.
I've been told that there's a lot of people who don't have it. And I can't comprehend that because it's like, don't you lock your door at night? Don't you lock your car when you go into the store? That's common sense.
Yeah.
So if you take a little bit of common sense
Yeah.
and you educate yourself, you do the research, you are able to inform yourself about the correct decisions that you need to make
Yeah.
for whatever it is that you're doing in life, in career, pursuing a job, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that people choose not to do it. It's like selective hearing. And I think that
True.
that comes back to maybe your background, how you were raised, where you come from. But even so, after all that I've been through, that
Yeah.
is still no excuse
Yeah.
because you're grown now, right? You're an adult.
Yeah.
You have a mind.
Yeah.
So use it.
Exactly.
For me, because of everything that I've been through, I come from a place, I come from the heart.
Yeah.
I come from a place of love.
Exactly.
And that took a long time
Mhm.
to get there
I get that. Yeah.
because I had to value me, love me, learn what my self worth was
Yeah.
in order to say, hey, that's what I'm about.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's so cool to be able to say you come from that aspect of love now, and it took you so long to get there because truthfully, at the end of the day, the toughest thing for people to do in the world today comes into that common sense factor. But being able to show that self-love, we're always searching elsewhere for everyone else to give us that love. And that's where like you just said, the common sense factors, majority it's gone in the world because people, they don't look at things from, all right, if I do this, I'll get this. If I want to get to point B, I got to go through point A. I can't just skip over. And like you just said, like, when you go into the store, you lock the car, that's common sense factor. And when you take common sense into your own life, common sense is understanding, all right, I need to understand that it's not just about everyone else. I'm an actual person here too. I have my own needs. I have my own wants. I need to make sure I'm okay before I can reach out and help someone else or help someone else get to where they need to be. And that's all self-love. And for you to just say it took you a long time to get there. And this whole concept that we want to get to people right now of the journey, all those lessons along the way, all that negativity you faced along the way, it created an incredible mind. It created incredible success and incredible drive, incredible energy for that matter. And at the pinnacle of all that is it brought you to that self-love, which is what we're all striving for at the end of the day, to be able to connect to something greater. And that something greater is actually in us, which elevates you to even more of another level because other people are trying to how'd she get there? And like you just said, like they look to you as being assertive or having a powerful energy to you, at the end of the day, or a powerful spirit for that matter, at the end of the day, you achieve that. And people look at that and go, how? And that's where that's why that question is like, how did she get there? You reach a new level that people are striving for that they don't even know what they're striving for throughout life. That's the inner journey we're all pursuing. And I'll keep going with it. You mentioned you had to overcome being the victim. And, victim mentality is, I think, level one that a lot of people start at, for that matter. And then the next level, I'm diving into all this stuff in my own rights, but the next level is known as, a manifester mentality, meaning we have a dream, we want to go forward with it, we have a goal. How can I get from point A to point B? The common sense factor, as you just said. But overcoming that victim mentality is what we need to do first. Self-love gets you there. So the more people can tap into that, and then you realize, all right, at the end of the day, this is the life I want to pursue. This is the journey I want to pursue. This is the journey I want to achieve, career-wise, inner-wise, whatever it is. How can I get there? And that's everything that you've been able to accomplish through all the life lessons, good or bad, that have brought you to where we are now. Hence the journey, which we want everyone to hear about right now. So no, I completely get where you're coming from with all that. It's extremely powerful to see you walk it out every single day. That's huge.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the journey is lifelong.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Mhm.
And many years ago, I was like, okay, I've been through everything I need to be through. Why do I have to keep going through all of this stuff?
Uh-huh.
Like I was so frustrated, right? And I just wanted it now. And it's that instant gratification
Mhm.
in anything. We want things quick. We want
Yeah.
it right now. If we can't get it right now, we're going to have a fit.
Yeah.
And that's not the way to live life.
Yeah.
Love, which is one of the highest vibrations that you can have,
Yep.
comes with patience.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue in which I had to learn over time.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the biggest example is like having children. That
Okay.
was automatic for me, having that patience
Yeah.
from the time that they were born, till to this day.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of patience, a lot of patience. But that's a really good example, like a mother to her child,
Yeah.
having that patience. Well, you need to have that in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Because it isn't instant.
Mm.
You could study manifestation, you could
Yep.
study the secret, but it's not instant.
Exactly.
What is you realizing, it's that self-realization and self-awareness. Like, okay, here's where I'm at now, but I know that I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
Here's where I'm at now, but I know that I'm going to get there. How will I get there? How will I determine the process?
Yeah.
Without being attached to the result.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Exactly.
This attachment to the material world is so disgusting. It's horrible.
Uh-huh.
But how can I get there? How can I really polish myself in that process?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so for me, it's like this energy, it's kind of newfound because I took on my health even more in the last 2 years. And during that time, I was in so much pain, so much pain. And still to this day, there's days where it takes me 6 hours just to deal with my health and I'm not able to do work.
That's
Or
right.
I'll take, a few hours to be able to focus on work.
Yeah.
And that's okay as long as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because the only person that has anything to prove is to me, right? Myself.
Yeah.
So I do what I can. I don't guilt trip myself. I don't, it's like, okay, I'm doing the best that I can. I wake up every morning. I'm like, I'm thankful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so appreciative.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, that cup of coffee, I sit there and I'm just like soaking in it.
Yeah.
Because there was a time in my life where I didn't have that, where I didn't have running water, where I didn't have food.
Yeah.
From the time I was little till growing up.
Yeah.
Even recently. So I went through 5 years of homelessness with my children. In the court systems, everything. Nobody knew.
Yeah.
Because I'm not street smart and I'm not book smart. Like you don't need to know.
Yeah.
But you do need to see me as a mother going to their school, being involved, being on the boards of all their sports, being there, showing up, picking them up, doing the best that I can. That's what you will see.
Yeah.
Because when you see that and something happens, those are the people that, whether they like you or not, that will come to at least aid your children. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with people being involved in my life. So it's something that I'm able to give to my children because I was determined from a young age to always be one of love.
Yeah.
Period. It
Mm.
didn't matter if I was getting love or not. It was to be a person of love.
Yeah.
So I'm a constant giver. I'm
Mm.
not looking at what can I get back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not setting someone's expectations so high. I'm saying, what is your expectation? What is your dream? What is it you want to do? Oh, well, I just want things to be simple and I just want things to be easy. Well, that's fine. You might miss out on some things in life, but you can definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
It's all about mindset.
True.
Change your mind, how you think,
Yeah.
your attitude, show appreciation for
Yeah.
those small things that show up so that the
Exactly.
big things can happen. You make room for the big to happen,
Yeah.
And I had to go through this series of these series of trials and tribulations,
Yeah.
When I was working for the cops, I was like, okay, I come from a background of that violence and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I walk into the room,
Mm.
to the police station, I felt like I was met with hostility.
Mm.
And just because people like come off as hostile, sometimes it's the job, sometimes it's the way that they think.
Yeah.
It just, it depends.
Yeah.
And I didn't let their attitudes like affect my decision,
Good.
whether I wanted to be an officer or not.
Yeah.
But I took that into account and I'm like, this isn't a very warm and friendly place.
Yeah.
So how will I grow as a person if I'm constantly in a hostile environment?
I get that. Yeah.
How will I grow? I want to be somewhere where, my voice is heard, where, where I feel like I'm making a difference in a different kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that was really, really important. And then I also had, I had my life. I had like 9 lives. I had my life being being surrounded around gangs and violence.
Mm.
I had my life being with the police. I had my life being, really high GPA student.
Mm.
I had different kinds of lives, and that's okay. But I was still Niki at the end of the day. I was still me.
Yeah.
And so having that kind of diversity
Mm.
really has helped me be who I am. I can live anywhere. I can go anywhere. I can do whatever it is I need to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I know how to do it. I know how to navigate those channels.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was being a student leader.
Uh-huh.
And then having a family and feeling like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
Uh-huh.
What am I going to do? I want to get involved with this political stuff, but I have nothing to contribute.
Gotcha.
And then, people calling me up and saying, no, you do. You have a lot to contribute. We need you.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm like in this hot seat and I'm surrounded by women who have been in politics since the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
And they're sitting there and they're teaching me and they're schooling me, but they're like, you're our leader.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I remember being in Michigan at some major conference. I mean, there was hundreds of people.
Uh-huh.
There was different departments there, civil rights, civil liberties union. I mean, just different people. It was all about equal opportunity, civil rights. Yeah. And I remember he said, the man on the podium said, yes, we'd like to recognize Niki Bell. She's the one to go to for all of this political stuff that we're dealing with, especially with civil rights, equal opportunity. Seek her out. And I was just like, oh. I was like, but I was honored and it was a blessing. And they really expected me to run for office.
Wow.
But I couldn't.
Okay. Yeah.
As years went on, I couldn't because there was things going on in my home. I was in a domestic violence situation.
Okay.
That actually would last for the next 20 years.
Gotcha.
Domestic violence.
Wow.
And so I was like, nope, I can't. And I gathered up my small army. I'm a veteran when it comes to dealing with domestic violence organizations, sexual trafficking. That's the life that I was born into. Wow. Sexual trafficking.
Wow.
So to come out and say, I was a victim of that most of my entire life when it comes to sexual trafficking and sexual violence.
Yeah.
And then to be able to say, I'm a goddess. Mm. My name is Diosa, which is Spanish.
Okay.
For goddess.
Gotcha.
That is power in and of itself.
Yeah.
And yes, I will belly dance on the streets. And I will sit there and I will do percussion drums. Uh-huh. Because life is about rhythm. Mm. So if you're out of rhythm and you are out of sync and you don't know where you're going, all you've got to do is just center on the within. Mm. It will come to you.
Yeah.
It's not outside of you, it's within you.
Yeah.
You just have to activate that.
Exactly.
And that journey that journey takes you where you find out this information, you find out that information. And then as you're going through, sometimes when you're going through certain systematic things that, systemic things that you have to go through,
Yeah.
that's okay. You sit back and you're like, I really don't like where this is going. I really don't like how the shelters I know they have a good intention, but I don't feel like there's equal opportunity when it comes to domestic violence. They're putting men and women together in the shelter where they sleep overnight. And I think that that's horrible.
Yeah.
So I have my own thought about it, but it's like, what can I do to change that? And what can I do to change that? That comes from within me.
Yeah.
Some of us take that on and say, okay, I'm going to go start a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was different. I had already dealt with 200 nonprofits. I had already overseen labor unions, all of these state departments, federal, what have you.
Yeah.
So I already knew what that was about. And I was like, okay, without the funding to back up that cause, you're really just perpetuating this dependency.
Yeah.
Right? This dependent attitude. So guess what? I'm going to switch. Came to California. I said, I'm going to switch. And I'm not going to do the nonprofit thing. I'm going to deal with the private industry. I'm going to do investments because I will not ever go without food. I will not ever be hungry. I will not ever be without a home. None of it.
Yeah.
Because I will have my own money.
Yeah.
But the way to get there is all the internal work.
Yeah.
That's the way to get there. If you weren't born into it, if someone's not giving you a silver spoon, right? You weren't born with that golden spoon.
Yeah.
Then guess what? You have to work and you never give up.
Exactly.
You never give up. But the work is internal.
Yeah.
It's not out here.
Exactly. That stuff will come after you do the internal work. And for that matter, it's probably going to come along the same lines. As you take the steps internally, you're going to be taking steps externally as well.
Right.
And everything you just said, there are so many key points that I want to make known to make sure everyone picked it up. The first one, a little while ago, before you kind of got deeper into your story, you mentioned the aspect of patience and how patience is such a huge factor of self-love, of love for that matter, reaching that energetic level that brings it into your life for that matter. Patience, for one thing, I think is so tough for so many people because you need to be able to get to a point inwardly where you can say, hey, this is what I want, but I have to let it go so it can come whenever. Or if it comes for that matter, something greater might come in the matter of that. But how have you been able to let go when you have this goal, you have this dream, you have a want, just as people watching may have? How do you reach that level of patience where it's like, hey, you know what? Take it. I know sometime it's going to come, but how are you able to reach that level of letting go and being patient to reach something greater?
So I only can say it from my experience, and that was 4 years ago after being homeless and now being in a place where I am, stable, of course.
Yep.
I hit a very, very dark part in my life. I had just gotten into a car accident. So I moved, and 2 weeks later get into a major car accident, 4-car collision. And so I'm just in the dark, in the dark, in the dark.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that could pull me out.
Yeah.
Right. I have a faith-based group and everything, but there was nothing that could pull me out. And I remember hearing, there's 3 names I'm going to bring up.
Okay.
First was Marissa Peer. She's a British coach.
Okay.
Then it was Bob Proctor.
Yep. Okay.
And the Bob Proctor that we see, not his students. Okay. I really don't care for that program. They all come out, woo boy, questionable. But Bob Proctor himself. Then I remember Abraham Hicks. And it took me a while to get acclimated with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Marissa Peer she said, you can tell your brain what to think.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't, and I'm in the dark. There's no light coming into my house. There's nothing. I'm in the dark.
Yeah. And
so I was like, what? And then I said, oh, let me look this up. And then I go to Bob Proctor, and he's like, both sides of your brain. Here's how life functions. You have on the one side fear, doubt, anxiety.
Yep.
On the other side, you have knowledge base. You have the understanding. Once you get these two components, you can never go back to fear and doubt.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
beg to defer, but I have to keep reminding myself of that.
Yeah.
Because when you have to deal with so much trauma, it is very easy to go back.
Mm.
But the more that you build yourself up, the
Yep.
more inner power that you gain, the harder it is to go back and stay there.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Exactly.
You might always go back. There's something in your environment that might trigger you.
Uh-huh.
That's okay. But it's when we stay there, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So then I started to grow more from that, grow more, and I began to see evidence in my environment. You know, I literally like met an angel who just really was there for me. It was just so powerful
Yeah.
because I didn't think there was anybody.
Mm.
And because I was able to have those conversations, you know, like looking back, I had a little pep in my step. I was like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
Just from having a conversation with somebody that
Yeah.
understood where I was coming from.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
know, so I began to grow more and more from there. This whole time, I'm still always with my career.
Yep.
I'm still always trying to do investments. I'm still always trying to help people.
Yep.
But I was really on the down and out internally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so then I said, okay, that's what's going on. This is a big part of what I need to change. And then what happened was I began to start putting things into my mind,
Yeah.
positive things, not allowing myself to get down at all. You
Mm.
know, I'd be in the kitchen like dancing, like, yeah, even if I couldn't move that day, even if I was too sick that day,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm just like in my mind and then get my body to move and shake and groove.
Yeah.
It was powerful.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is I'm on the phone. And this is like last year when I was really going through my health problem.
Okay.
I'm on the phone and I've got a business call and they're just like, oh my God, your energy is so great. Like, wow. But they don't know a minute ago I was dying, like
Yeah. Right.
literally dying, like call 911 dying.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
What mattered was that I showed up in my life right then and there.
Yeah.
And I continue to show up.
Exactly.
And I will continue to show up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the more you show up in your life for you, the
Yep.
more you surrender and allow, like you said,
Yep.
the more you get people. And it may not be a mass of people.
Yeah.
It may be one person
Yeah.
and then another person. But the more you get people who come into your life who understand on some level,
Yep.
oh, okay, this is where you're at.
Yeah.
This is where you've been. This is where I'm at. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Exactly.
Let's do this together. Let's be there together for each other.
Yeah.
And you can do that in anything in life, your relationships, your businesses, the groups that you belong to.
Yep.
You know, whether you're shy, reserved, quiet, or whether you're an extrovert, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's about you showing up in your life
Yeah.
and you doing the steps that you need to do. And only you can determine that.
Yeah.
You know, I could create a program, but that program isn't going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Same with dieting, you know, your health stuff. Everything is different. You have to do the research and find what works for you.
Exactly.
And then because you're so spiritually connected, what I found is that what happens is the information ends up coming to you
Yeah.
where you don't even have to look anymore.
Exactly.
Right?
So true. It's true. It comes on that aspect of that journey, and to take it even deeper for people, because you kind of touched on it a little bit right there. It's an inner journey, but it's a journey that is so much bigger than anything we could really fathom. It's a spiritual journey for that matter too. And it's like it's yes, you know, I'm Billy, I'm walking my journey throughout this life. It is 2020. I'm pursuing my goals and everything like that. I'm trying to grow. If you take the whole timeline out of it right now, I am a person pursuing these goals, trying to help other people in its own journey, for that matter, trying to grow into something else that I can't even fathom in my own aspect right now. And that's going really deep for people. So I'm not going to touch too much on that. But for people that take something of that, know, as Niki just touched on, when you start to take those steps and you start to do it, you know, for you, for something greater for that matter, it's going to start to come to you because you're putting out something new on this journey. And the pieces start to fall into place. If you can get up and say like, hey, you know what? I am going through all this negativity. I am going through these struggles right now. But there's a huge aspect right there. I'm still going to take this step. Niki just explained in her own journey that she was going through so much negativity, but she still showed up for the career aspect. She knew she had to. She knew she had to help people, and people were actually coming to her. And I've had this in my own story as well. You can show up for a business call, you can show up for a message, you can show up for a meeting, whatever it is, and your energy level is there. And people are sitting there like, wow, I'm getting something so out of this. And they're coming up to you afterwards like, hey, I really got something great out of that. Thank you so much. And as Niki just touched on, an hour ago, she was in a struggling point. But how was she able to make that switch? Because she showed up and said, hey, I have to do this. I'm here. This is for all we know, that business meeting was something in the whole greater scheme of things, the whole greater plan of things, to show her and to show all of us when we have these struggles that there's something greater at work. And if we can operate at that higher level, as she did for her business meeting, and then bring it back to that negativity, as she just touched on, that negativity doesn't stay there anymore because you realize you overcame it. Yes, it could still come at you, could still attack you, it could still try and pull you down, but you're stronger because you went through the first step. And she just touched on, people will come, opportunities will come to try and pull you out of that negativity. At the end of the day, you're something so much greater because you went through the negativity in the first place, and now it can't even touch you because you've grown so much, because you've taken those steps. And that's everything Niki's story has been, which is why I was so happy to give her this opportunity and for her to take the opportunity to be on this once a week episode, because her story encapsulates the entire message of this journey where she has not been stopped, but she's grown throughout all of it. Yes, people may say she's assertive. People may say she's a powerful spirit, which she is. But at the end of the day, she's doing it in such an incredible, loving way that's what we're all supposed to do. We're all supposed to be like that in our own right, because that's how you get on your journey, and that's how you get somewhere in life, by showing that goodness out there and pouring it out there to people. And that's what Niki's entire story encapsulates. So like, take that and run with it for whatever that means for your story, if you're taking this message in, because it's powerful. Yeah.
And I think it's also, the other part was about Abraham Hicks.
Yep.
She's so funny, but she's like, you know what you want, you know what you don't want, you know what you want, you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
But you keep going for what you don't want, and then you come back. And so what you're saying is you need to be in that energy sphere, meaning you are energy. You need to step into that energy.
Yeah.
Be one with that energy, because that is you.
Mm.
And as soon as you step out of that energy vortex, you're out of sync with it.
Mm.
So how do you get back into it? And there's many episodes where she talks about this.
Yeah.
But the way that I get back into it is I check my mind.
Mm.
What is going on with my thoughts? There's
Yeah.
that subconsciousness going on in the back of your brain, which is like the TV screen, right? All that fuzzy static. That's the stuff that wants to pull you down, wants to pull you back, wants to tell you you're a victim. You're a victim. You're not gonna get your business going, or you're gonna fail, or whatever it is. And you have to take your mind and say, no, stop.
Yeah.
Everything is good. Everything will be great. I am awesome. I am doing wonderful. Look in the mirror, look at yourself, repeat, do affirmations, whatever it is that you need to do.
Yeah.
Right? But stop with the negative thoughts.
Yeah.
The more positive thoughts that you put in to your brain, the more that you become a magnet for that.
Yeah.
Right? The more you attract that. And I'm not going to use labels like law of attraction or mindfulness, because it's different for everybody.
Exactly.
But I will say this, you have to put that kind of work in.
Yeah.
That's the work that I put in every day.
Yeah.
If my thought is anything but happy and joyful, okay, we need to change that.
Yeah.
Am I worried about somebody getting back to me or not getting back to me? No, they're having a busy day, and I think they're a fabulous person. They're going to get back to me.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like a week later, they might get back to you because they were vacationing. They were busy. How many times just that little bit?
Yeah.
That is such a simple thought. How many times do our thoughts go there?
Right.
Too many times out of a day.
Yeah.
Too many times.
Exactly.
And so you have to constantly bring it back. It's not positive, like a fake positive.
Yep.
It's I am doing this because I care about me.
Yeah.
This is part of the self-care that I have to do in order for me to enjoy the moment, be in that present moment, right?
Yep.
To have longevity.
Yeah.
And also you can really heal your body when you are constantly putting positive thoughts into your mind.
Yeah.
putting positive energy into yourself,
Exactly.
putting love into yourself,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You can overcome a lot of illness by
Yep.
doing that, by
Exactly.
laughing,
Yeah.
being joyful, turning on the TV, watching a comedy show,
Right.
making sure that laughter is there at least once or twice a day,
Yeah.
dancing, get up, feel the music.
Right.
You know, if you're in nature, just walk,
Yeah.
talk to the birds, say hi,
Yeah.
because
Right.
actually they're there. They're
Yeah.
there for a reason.
Exactly.
You know, be in tune with Mother Earth so that you can be more in tune with yourself. But
Mm.
it's very powerful. And then over the years, I have seen all these things that I just talked about. I seen it, and I tried it, and then I would stop it. But now, because I've had to evolve so much,
Yeah.
it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm spending 4 or 5 hours just on energy work,
Mm.
getting my mind right. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes I've got to wake up early, and then there's times where I don't, but I don't guilt myself.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best that I can. You
Exactly.
know, no
Yeah.
one's in charge of my schedule. And as long as I'm being productive with myself, then I'm productive with others.
Yeah.
As long as I'm being loving and kind to myself,
Mm.
then I'm able to be loving and kind with others.
Yeah.
But I'm also firm. I'm going to tell you like it is.
Yeah.
Either you want to hear it or you don't. So when people come to me, which is usually by, referrals or people that have known me over the years,
Mm.
when they send somebody to me, that person knows, okay, I know that when I call her, she's going to give it to me straight.
Yeah.
And that to me, having those relationships with others
Mm.
who bring those people to me,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just so blessed
Yeah.
to have that, And
Exactly.
sometimes it's a vicious cycle in the financial world. Sometimes, it's at random. It's like every 3 months we might get a deal popping off or something.
Yeah.
But it's that patience. And when we do, there is like nothing, nothing stopping that
Yeah.
because we have been working up to that point.
Yeah.
So it's an everyday thing. That internal work is more, I do more internal work, I would say, than I do the physical,
I get you.
getting on the phone or the computer. But I actually more than likely do both,
Yep.
but I do more internal.
I get that.
So I do a lot of work every day, reaching out to hundreds of companies.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if they call me back or not. It's a fact that they saw my message,
Yep.
they read the message, and now they're going to go spread the message,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I get that. And
So,
no, I love everything you just said and everything. And something really spoke to me when you were talking, and it for everyone watching and listening right now, as Niki just described, meet yourself where you're at. And this I had
yeah.
this kind of vision come at me when you were talking, Niki, where if you could picture anyone watch right now, picture yourself right now with where you're at. If you're in a negative mindset, as Niki just touched on, where you have to stop those negative thoughts, picture the person that you want to be, the person that isn't that negative, that person that has that
Mhm,
positivity, as Niki has described,
mhm.
coming and meeting you where you're at and pulling you and talking to you and pulling you to where you need to be so you can achieve to
Right.
be that person. And Niki just touched on the struggle that is the negative thoughts that run through our mind. And I put a message out last week that everyone can go back and watch. I'll put it at the end of this video, and it was on the idea of that mentation aspect where our mind just constantly cycles through this negativity of the same thoughts all day. And until
Mhm,
we break that cycle, we can't really grow. And Niki just touched on that exactly what she said. But picture who you want to be and meeting you where you're at. And Niki's entire story, as she just touched on in this entire message, has been no matter what age she was or where she was, she met herself where she's at. Whether she failed in the student government when she was in elementary school, or in the
mhm.
police, or in school being a leader and what, or all the way to where she is now, she met herself where she's at and said, "Hey, come on, we got this. Get up and keep going." No matter what struggle she went through, she met herself where she's at and kept pulling. And that's what you guys need to take from this message and run with, because that's going to get rid of the negativity. Because you're going to start to grow out of that as we've gone through this entire video. And that's part of your journey. That's why you're watching this video right now. That's why, because you're on your own journey. And if Niki and I can right now pull back those scales from the eyes for that matter and show you right now that, hey, I'm on my journey and I can take this step, then that's all this message was supposed to do. Right?
Exactly.
It's incredible.
Exactly. And bringing it back, you talked about how I deal with investments, and I just had an epiphany. I'm like, how do I get people to understand like what it is that I do?
Yeah.
Strategy, and then I, help them get investors
Yeah.
in the private industry.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it's about what have you done
Mm.
to invest in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want you to include money. What have you done to invest in yourself?
Yeah.
And have you done the same thing that someone else has done?
Mm.
Because if you're doing it different, that's innovation.
Yeah.
That's uniqueness.
Yeah.
That's what the world wants to see.
Exactly.
If you're doing the same old thing, if you created another Facebook, if you created another Instagram, don't come talking to me.
Yeah.
That's not innovation.
I get
If you have found a way to strategically align yourself with others in your local community so that nobody goes out of business,
Yeah.
that's innovation. That's creativity. Those are the people that I want to help,
Yeah.
that I want to be a part of,
Yeah.
you know? And it's powerful because right now we're in this time, right? Where things are falling apart.
Yeah.
We have this pandemic. Finances are personal finances, corporations, businesses are going down.
Yep.
But yet you will find that there are people who are still thriving and who are still rising
Yeah.
because they refuse to believe in the physical circumstance of things.
Mm.
They're like, no, I have something great here and I'm going to find a way to continue to make it happen.
Yeah.
Those are powerful individuals.
Exactly.
And so they're still rising, they're still thriving. And as they keep going up that ladder, they're bringing people with them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I do, but on an individual level, because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
So when I mean individual, I mean one at a time, one by one, one by one. My stuff is case by case.
Yeah.
And so to me, if we can right now be the leaders that they talked about, when we were little, like, oh, you're going to be a leader when you grow up. Yeah. We are that right now. Exactly. We are the leaders right now. Yeah. This is a historical moment for all of us. No matter what industry we're in, no matter where we are in the world. And if we can find a way to collaborate, to partner, and stop with this hard selling. I can't tell you how many people hard sell to me every day. Mm-hmm. Buy my program, buy this, buy that. And it's like, do you know the economic crisis that we are in around the world?
Right.
Common sense, you better find a way to partner with people.
Yeah.
Find a way. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest message right now.
Yeah.
Find a way to partner.
Yeah.
So that you guys can come together.
Yeah.
And as you are hearing people's stories, day by day who come to you, you're going to grow because you won't have any other choice but to grow.
It's true.
Because you have to find a way to meet the need, to meet the demand.
Yeah.
To scale your business so that you can meet the need and meet the demand.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do it alone. The only way that you can do it is when you get other people, other like minds on the same page, working together on that common goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That takes innovation. And, I get marketers, I get salespeople, they're doing the same thing, saying the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know what partnering means? Do you know that increases your deal flow?
Right.
No matter who you are, where you are, what time it is.
Yeah.
So it's time, space, reality meets the environment. Remember that. Time, space, reality meets the environment.
That's awesome.
And that's that inner working. And then it will show up.
Yeah.
In your environment.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. No, definitely. I gotta write that down. I like that. That's another incredible message right there. I have two last questions for you, Niki, before we close out this interview right here. One, where can people find more either about you or more from you? So they can either go to you or talk there. If they have a business aspect that they want to bring to you, how can they get in touch with you, and where can we find more about you?
Okay, so I'm on all the major platforms. Okay. I'm on LinkedIn.
There you go. Yep.
Under Niki Bell, Niki Bell.
Yep.
I'm on Facebook. I have Facebook pages.
Yep.
I'm on. I don't know if you'll put them underneath.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. If you put them up there, that'll be good. I'm on Twitter.
Yep.
And mine's the one with the naked woman. She's pretty much naked. She's like just poised. It's so beautiful. It's art, people. It's art. Mm-hmm. So my biggest thing is art. I'm an artist, my entire life. So it's amazing. I also am open for conversations. people to call me, 916-670-8038. That's 916-670-8038.
Mm,
And I do that because I have like this inner dare. I just dare somebody to call me,
mm,
because just because I give out my number doesn't mean that people call, right? And I
yeah.
think that now's the time where you should take
Mm,
the opportunity, take advantage, and
yeah.
just call and
Exactly.
have that friendly conversation.
Yeah.
It's a friendly, positive conversation I'm going to have with you.
Yeah.
If I tell you to go to my calendar and, especially if you're a company, your startup, whatever, and I
Yeah.
say, go to my calendar, answer these questions, answer the questions.
Yeah.
We're going to get on a call
Exactly.
and we're going to have a friendly chat no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about.
Yeah.
And then another way to contact me. Oh, my email is diosallc@gmail.com. That's
Okay.
DIOS as in Sam, ALLC@gmail.com.
Perfect. Awesome. No, that's perfect. And everyone, if something sparked you today from this message, go talk to Niki. She'll dive into it even more with you, but she'll also bring that whole business aspect too, if that's something that you want to touch on. Niki, my last question. We touched on so much in this interview. We touched on so many powerful messages, and you gave us one right before I asked that question. But if there's one lasting message that you want someone to take from this, something could be quick, could be long, whatever it is, one lasting one. We went over so much. What sticks out to you that if someone asks you, hey, give me one piece of information before you run away, what is it? One last message or something we talked about. What's the most important thing to you?
Okay, one of the things that we didn't talk about, but there's two things.
Yep.
So I'm going to do the first one, which is that there is an abundance. And I know that that word has been used a lot and misused, but there is literally an abundance of wealth out there.
Yeah.
You have to tap into it. And a lot of people don't have the access.
Mm,
I do.
mm,
So regardless if you have the access or not, you have to believe it.
mm.
There are multiple funding options, especially in the private sector. And it's not about what your friend told you. It's not about what the, neighbor who's with the venture capitalist firm told you.
Mm.
It's about you finding that information out, researching it, no matter what you've been told, picking up the phone, calling me, getting some feedback, whatever, right? It's about that. But it's about you knowing that there are funding options. Don't sit there and say, there's nothing that I can do for my business.
Mm.
I own a restaurant and they're going to shut me down.
Mm.
No, there's people all over town that I see who have creatively done where they sit tables out,
Yeah.
in the front because nobody can dine in, or they've established takeout,
Yeah.
Things of that sort. There's always something. You have to believe that there's always something that can be done.
Yeah.
In order to reach your goal.
Exactly.
Never give up. Don't sit there and say, oh my goodness, I'm going to close out, I'm going to be shut down, because you're shutting yourself down.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other message is the journey. So that journey begins with you.
Yeah.
It didn't begin with me. It didn't begin with me sitting here talking about my story. It began with you. It begins with you.
Mm.
And it already began from the time that you were born. The universe is just waiting for you to catch up.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Really.
Exactly.
Just waiting for you to catch up.
Yeah.
So if you're mad and angry, or whatever's going on, or you're sad, or whatever that emotion is, I want you to take your thought and keep repeating those positive thoughts. Anything that brings you happiness and joy.
Yeah.
And even if you can't feel it, do it. Because eventually that's going to turn into an emotion. It's going to turn into a feeling.
Yeah.
That's how things show up in your life.
Yeah.
First is thought, and then it's the feeling and emotion behind that.
Yeah.
And the more powerful and loving emotion that you put behind it, the more you can see it, and the more it will actually physically show up in your life.
Exactly.
And that's fact.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's powerful. And guys, take that and run with it. And like as Niki just touched on, that inner journey, the journey itself is what we wanted to depict to you guys today. And Niki did that in such a way. But take that last little message right there on the journey. That is something you can start now. I hope this message, this entire interview, was able to put a positive thought in your head, or just kind of reveal to you just a little bit more about how you can kind of get to that next level, or start to see that you're on a journey and how you can do that inward journey for yourself. But and Niki brought so many powerful messages. Niki, I thank you so much for being here. I'm going to put your contacts, just as you just explained to us, I'm going to put them at the end of this video as we post it later today. Niki, again, I thank you just so much for being a guest.
Woo, big hugs, much love.
You
thank you so much, Billy.
Yeah,
thank
perfect.
you.
Awesome. All right, guys, just like always, like this message on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button so we get that number up there. Hit that subscribe button. That number's been growing every single week. Let's continue to grow it so we can get these messages to people that need them. And lastly, just as I just said, share this message. If this sparked you in some way, or you were watching this and someone popped into your head while Niki was talking or I was talking, that person needs this message just as much as you do. Share it over to them, spread the message. Let's get it out there. And if you or anyone you know is struggling with anything, go to BillyGLifeCoaching.com. I'll be right there for you. Let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. We can set up a free call. I'll be right there. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And Niki, again, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving